Now, on their way to Sham, to Damascus, to Syria, they pass by a village by the name of Busra. Busra was a village which had a very important monk by the name of Bahira. Bahira, we call him. Bahira was a very well-known monk, a Christian monk who lived in this village. He was known for his deep knowledge. In fact, many Arab tribes, when they would go to Syria, they would pass by this village just to talk to Bahira. They would consult him, they would learn from his wisdom. He was a very, very wise man. Yes?
Did Abu Talib know that he was, Nabi Muhammad was the Prophet?
Yes, Abu Talib also had seen signs like the one we'll just talk about now, that this boy was special and that he would be a messenger. Yes. Even in lines of poetry, he does say that. In lines of poetry that we'll examine later, Abu Talib says that we've seen in the books, in the scriptures, that you are a messenger just like Musa and Isa. So he did know. There were these signs that he had seen. So they reach this village of Busra, and they meet this monk. They're passing by, they happen to meet him. When Bahira sees this young boy, just like that king of Yemen, he starts examining him very closely. He's seeing him. This boy is not your average boy. He's got these signs. You would see his shoulder, his facial features, his manners. So he approaches the caravan and he says, who is responsible for this young boy? Who's the guardian of this young boy? They tell him the guardian of this young boy is Abu Talib. It's his uncle. He says, please bring him. I want to talk to him. So he talks to Abu Talib and he tells him, this is your nephew? He says, yeah, this is my nephew. He tells him, look, I have many, many signs in our books. I master the Torah, the Injil, the Old Testament, the New Testament. And your boy is very, very special. I see all the signs of prophethood in this boy. And he seems to be the final messenger who will come at the end of time. So he tells him in our books, it's mentioned that his name is Muhammad. What's the name of this boy? He tells him his name is Muhammad. And he asks him some other questions to know whether he's the prophet, and he realizes all the signs are there. He's born in Mecca, he grew up an orphan, he lost his grandfather, now his uncle is taking care of him. So Bahira tells Abu Talib the same exact thing that Yemeni king told Abdul Muttalib. He tells him, look, your grandson, your nephew will have enemies. Especially some Jews, they will try to kill him. So make sure that you protect him. And I don't advise you to continue on this journey. If some people find out upon seeing him, then this will impose a danger to his life. This will pose a danger to his life. So I suggest you take him back, keep him safe in Mecca until he grows up. Abu Talib is now really concerned. Should he continue on this journey? Should he not continue on this journey? But he decides, for the safety of the Prophet, to go back to Mecca. Now there are some sources here that indicate, Sunni sources, that Abu Bakr was there present on that journey. And Abu Bakr is the one who had the Prophet go back to Mecca. He ordered Bilal. He gave an order to Bilal, Bilal, take Muhammad back to Mecca and save his life. This hadith, this historical hadith, is problematic for a number of reasons. First of all, some historians have mentioned Abu Bakr was not even present in that trip. So how did this happen? That's number one. Number two, Abu Bakr was at least 2 years younger than the Prophet. So the Prophet was how old at this time? 12. Even some narrations say he was 9. But let's say 12. So Abu Bakr must have been less than 10 years old. Bilal was several years younger than Abu Bakr. Bilal was no more than 7 years old at this time. How is it possible that Abu Bakr is now in charge and he's giving an order to Bilal, a 7-year-old boy, telling him to take Muhammad, who's 12 years old, back to Mecca. Doesn't make sense. Absolutely. Why is Abu Bakr here involved? Why is he giving orders? He's younger than the Prophet. And why is Bilal, a 7-year-old boy, taking Muhammad, a 12-year-old boy, back to Mecca? This hadith was forged to show that early on Abu Bakr had a special relationship with the Prophet, and he knew he'd be a messenger, and he believed in his message early on, and he wanted to protect the Prophet's life. That was the political motive behind such hadiths. And that's why some Sunni scholars, based on such hadiths, they've said, yeah, Abu Bakr was the first person to believe in the Prophet, not Imam Ali. Because early on he knew in his special status, and he would take care of him and protect his life. Another point here, what did Abu Bakr have to do with Bilal here? Why is he giving him an order like he's a slave? Bilal at that time was not a slave for Abu Bakr. He was owned by Umayyah. 30 years later, according to some historical accounts, Abu Bakr purchased him and he became a slave for Abu Bakr. Not when he was 7. So on what basis is Abu Bakr even commanding Bilal like he's a slave to take him back to Mecca? He did not even own him at the time. So this hadith, this historical account is highly problematic, and we have issues with it. It's just, not plausible that the Prophet is 12 and these 2 younger boys are making decisions for him and taking him back.